Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. The Internet of Value continues to be built out. Take a look at the tweet on my screen right here. It's from Coil. And it states, in collaboration with Mozilla and Creative Commons, we're excited to announce the $100 million grant for the web to advance web monetization for creators. Learn more here. So I'm going to be covering that piece with you today. I've also got some quotes from Miguel Villas. He is the head of XRP markets at Ripple. And the last piece that I'm going to cover in this video, it's on the blockcrypto.com, and it's titled David Marcus, co-creator of Libra, says the stablecoin won't threaten monetary sovereignty of nations. Now, before we get going, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, you came to the right place. This is a very XRP-centric channel. It's a crypto channel, but specifically heavy on XRP, and you are welcome to be here. Thanks for stopping by. And let's go ahead and jump right in now to... here's the piece. Nope, that's not the piece. Here we go. Sorry, I was messing around with tabs. Anyway, so here you go, straight from Coil. And this piece is titled, Why We Are Giving Away $100 Million to Creators with Mozilla and Creative Commons. A little over 2 decades ago, in March of 1998, Netscape released the source code to its Navigator browser on Mozilla.org. Speaking with CNN, Netscape CEO Jim Barksdale commented, "We think it is going to change the way people actually develop these products dramatically for many, many years to come." He was right. Over the next 20 years, open source slowly took over the browser market. Last year, Microsoft announced their intention to use and contribute to the open source Chromium project instead of continuing to build their own proprietary layout engine. With this change, all major, and most minor, browsers will soon be either entirely open source or built on open source engines. Since the 90s, open technologies have had a lot of success like this, but one industry has remained frustratingly closed: payments. We still use credit card networks, proprietary online and mobile wallets, and centralized remittance services. Open source payment options do exist in the form of blockchain technology, but they have become silos in their own right because of lack of interoperability between them. Without a truly open standard for payments, open systems in general have had a hard time competing with their proprietary counterparts. You know, when I read that, it makes me think back to how articulately David Schwartz, Ripple CTO and co-creator of the XRP ledger, talked about the original vision of Bitcoin, and in part was certainly to make other forms of value potentially obsolete, right? Especially as Bitcoin maxis and ideological driven people find it, because they don't like banks and they don't like the government and this or that. But David Schwartz has, on more than one occasion, artfully explained that in going down this path, by creating cryptocurrency, by pushing for Bitcoin, you basically created the same problems that we already had today in many ways. You have all these other cryptocurrencies that were birthed out of this movement, and XRP being one of them, and they're all their own individual silos of quote-unquote value. You know, they're not particularly interoperable. And that's what the problem here is. And so that's why, for me, and this is part of the reason I'm never going to be ideologically driven on this, I just want to figure out what fundamentally makes sense. It's that people are going to be motivated by different things. They're going to have different incentives, monetary and otherwise, and not all people will want the same thing when it comes to paying for stuff. Bitcoin will never be the end-all, be-all. Now, neither will XRP or any other coin. There's not going to be one coin to rule them all. So given that's the case, let's be adults. It's like, to me, that's my perspective. It's like, let's be adults. How can you actually solve the problem? Well, it comes down to interoperability. There are always going to be these little siloed off sections, but if you can connect them, is it really so bad? Well, not really. So anyway, the piece continues here. How many developers have chosen to build native apps and games instead of web apps in order to be able to take advantages of paid apps and in-app purchases? How differently could peer-to-peer file sharing have played out if there had been a way to pay creators? The web today is suffering from the symptoms of a broken business model. Every day, we read a new headline about privacy abuses related to ads, demonetization to appease advertisers, unethical sponsored content, popular sites struggling to make money, ads placed next to content without the creator's consent, ad blocker arms race, subscription fatigue, large platforms abusing their market power, and so on. All of these issues can be traced back to one simple problem: browsers don't pay. This forces sites to raise funds through workarounds like ads, data trafficking, sponsored content, and site-by-site subscriptions. Over the past couple of years, the Interledger Payments Community Group at W3C has been working to solve this problem. We developed Interledger and web monetization as the first comprehensive set of open standards for monetizing content on the web. Today, we are excited to announce a program which we hope will help to fix monetization on the web once and for all. Coil, together with Mozilla and Creative Commons, is launching a $100 million grant for the web to benefit creators and promote the open web monetization standard. For the first time, web monetization allows users to reward creators on the web without having to rely on one particular company, currency, or payment platform. Companies such as Coil, who are providing access to the Interledger network, will have to compete with other access providers the same way that internet service providers have been competing for decades. And so on this front, can I just take a moment to remind you, Coil uses a blend of Interledger Protocol and XRP. In order for this business model to work, assuming this really does take off, and I certainly hope it does, XRP needs to be held. Keep thinking big picture. What does that mean if XRP needs to be actually used for this to work? And people that like to invest in things that businesses need, where do you think they're going to go as it comes to cryptocurrencies? And it's an entire asset class which barely has any money into it relative to other asset classes. Almost none. What's the market? I didn't check the price today. I don't check price every day, actually. What's XRP? I'm guessing it's around 25 or 26 cents, or it would have been all over my newsfeed that had changed, right? I didn't check the price today. But at least not yet anyway. And so the market cap for the entire asset class, last I looked within the last day or two, whatever it was, 260, 270 billion. It's floating around there. It doesn't matter. It's around there. Well, look, there's almost no money in this. You've got gold that has a market cap on its own of, 8 trillion or something stupid high like that. That's just one asset. Well, I'm just saying, for those cryptocurrencies that are adopted, which have actual utility, and XRP is certainly one of them. This is not financial advice, but I can't imagine if global adoption, the way that XRP holders like myself and probably you hope this pans out, how could you not one day have a massive market cap? And I still think there are going to be some winners out there, some cryptocurrencies that are adopted in such a vast capacity that they on their own will have market caps in the trillions. And we are just here early. That's the way that I look at this. And so it's all coming. It's all a matter of time. But we got to be patient here. We got to be a little bit patient. Anyway, the piece continues. Oh, shoot, did I lose my spot? For the first time, web monetization allows users to reward creators on the web. Did I read that part? Without having to rely on one particular company, currency, or payment platform. Companies such as Coil, who are providing access to the Interledger network, will have to compete with... Okay, I apologize. I did read that part. Let me jump down. We believe that this will disrupt siloed content subscription services in the same way that siloed ad-based online services providers like AOL were disrupted by the emergence of the open web. Audiences prefer to watch content on their terms and tend to punish companies who erect unnecessary roadblocks. Key pieces of infrastructure have already been built. Puma Browser is the first browser with native web monetization support. Cinnamon is the first video sharing site entirely financed by web monetization. Stronghold for US dollars and XRP Tipbot for XRP are two of the first Interledger-enabled wallets. Popular sites like CSS Tricks are experimenting with web monetization as a more user-friendly, privacy-preserving way to make money. And over at JS13K Games, indie game developers have built some of the first web-monetized games. Grant for the Web will soon make calls for proposals. Signed up to be notified on grantfortheweb.org. We plan to make small to medium-sized grants, and they write that would be anywhere from $1,000 to $100,000, to developers and creators who support and promote web monetization like the examples cited above. The majority of the grant money will go to openly licensed software and content. Very cool stuff. Look, we are witnessing a transformation right before our very eyes, and almost no humans on the planet know about this. That's why the reason that I was so excited to ultimately start my YouTube channel after having been in this space for over a year. It took me that long before I decided, okay, I'm going to move forward with this. My passion for following this stuff never died because I'm so confident that I found something very special that almost nobody in the world knows about, and it's something that I'm able to put my own money into. And if I'm wrong, fine, maybe I lose at everything. This is highly risky. It's okay to acknowledge that, but I don't think I'm wrong, and I do see adoption taking place, and as long as I do see that, and I see XRP actually being used, I am going to be thrilled to be a part of this, and that's why I love reporting on this stuff every single day. I see what this will mean, and I can see institutional investors that will want to have a diversity of their investments among many asset classes, and given that there's opportunities for asymmetrical returns here with cryptocurrencies, and specifically XRP, I just think if you could fast forward, I don't know whether it be another 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, minds will be blown, faces will be melted over the excitement that is actually happening here. It's just the coolest thing in the world to me. All right, now check out this. This tweet was from XRP Boy. He wrote, I believe the interview took place at Baruch College. Here's the statement. And so there was a little screen grab right here, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there are a couple parts of this I did want to read. And so there was somebody in the audience. So this is all coming from, these are bullet points. So this came out of the conversation that took place. I'm sure it was a Q&A portion of that. Actually, I'm about 100% sure that I watched this shortly after it happened, if it's the one I'm thinking of. So somebody in the audience asked about, they said they were an early investor in Ripple. Of course, they mean XRP. And they asked about escrow and XRP value dilution. And so Miguel responded. And again, Miguel is the head of XRP markets at Ripple. And he said, the goal with Ripple is not to get rich off XRP. The long-term business model is to get a piece of the trillions that will flow through our network on the software side. We use XRP to activate that. It takes time and money. The goal isn't to wait until XRP is $10 and sell everything and then it's over. And then there's a question, will altcoins ever decouple from Bitcoin? And then people are trading baskets of this stuff. And the real decoupling will be when most altcoins disappear. And so check out this. This is the part that XRP Boy highlighted for this screen grab, and to me it is the most significant part that's on the screen here. And it states, decoupling won't happen because Bitcoin does something different, but because some altcoins do their own thing. Oh yes, absolutely. That is what I have been preaching on this channel forever. It's absolutely, the decoupling will happen, but it's going to take more time before people get this. You can take a look at the fact that there's a reason. Look, there is a reason XRP is consistently towards the top of the thousands of coins that exist in terms of market cap. And as we sit here, go to coinmarketcap.com or Live Coin Watch, it's sitting there at number 3, right? And so that's not a fluke. Even though, yes, XRP moves in tandem with Bitcoin in terms of price action, I will say that there are a certain number of people out there, like me, and probably you if you're listening to this that get that XRP is actually different, and get that it's actually being used, and so anyway. Even though it's frustrating in terms of price action, it moves with Bitcoin still, I don't believe it's going to stay like that forever. People are going to figure this out. It is indeed coming. So, and you can already start to see that. There's a reason it's towards the top in terms of market cap, but the more people figure it out, the more decoupled it becomes. And one day in the future, probably coins won't move in tandem to any capacity once this is really a mature asset class, but that's going to take a while. All right, here's a tweet from XRP Crypto Wolf, and he sent this to me in my inbox. Thank you very much, good sir, for sending this. And it was a piece, it's the piece that I cited towards the beginning from the Block Crypto, and so I wanted to run through this with you real quick. All right? And it's titled, David Marcus, co-creator of Libra, says the stablecoin won't threaten monetary sovereignty of nations. And states, David Marcus, co-creator of Libra and head of Calibra, a Facebook company, has said that the proposed stablecoin Libra won't threaten monetary sovereignty of nations as claimed by global regulators recently. Marcus, in a Twitter thread on Monday, said that Libra is designed to be, quote, a better payment network and system running on top of existing currencies. And as such, there is no new money creation, which will strictly remain the province of sovereign nations. The executive further said that as Libra will be backed one-to-one by a basket of strong currencies, strong regulatory oversight preventing the Libra Association from deviating from its full one-to-one backing commitment is desirable. Reiterating his old marks, Marcus said that the association will continue to engage with global regulators to address their concerns through Libra's design and operations. And then here's a quote from him. I'm looking forward to the Libra Association taking on full leadership of the project soon after its charter has been ratified so I can focus on building Calibra. So there you go. So one thing that I have been stating as it pertains specifically to Libra, because there's this fear out there, especially by governments, that it's individual nations are going to lose their financial sovereignty, this or that. I just want to point out, if it goes down the way that it is described, and that's the if part, fine. But Libra, in order for it to exist and have any quote-unquote value, it has to be backed. And so if it has to be backed, there has to be an underlying currency, which means that that currency can't go away because then Libra no longer has a value. So in terms of who's competing with who, well, I just don't see, by and large, there can be overlap in terms of usage, but it doesn't mean that Libra would just make fiat currencies obsolete. To me, that's kind of a silly position to take, and I think it lacks fundamental understanding of what it takes to be a stablecoin and what it means to be a stablecoin. So that's my 2 cents on it anyway. You can tell me if you disagree. It's okay to have a different opinion. I encourage diversity of thought, and there's no way I'm going to be right about everything. So let's have discussion below. Feel free to drop your comments. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!